3 for 3. Back again. Teach, coach, Podfather. What we do. Sports, life, everything in between. Yeah. 2-1 today. Fellas.
Welcome to the 3 for 3 podcast. That's right. Episode 21, which makes this the Tim Duncan episode. Podfather, don't get mad. Don't get mad. Had to do it. We can't call it the Zeke Elliott podcast anymore, right?
He wants to wear 15. He said he wants 15 back. I think Jerry does too. And so
15. He's going to get it back. It just won't be in Dallas. We are your favorite scorekeeping podcast, life, sports, everything else. Here we debate everything from sock color to shoe size. We mock things like the NBA draft, the NFL draft, and mostly we just mock each other. I am your moderator, Paul Teach Nelson. I am joined, as always, by Coach Frank Lafada and the Podfather himself, Alex Gullett. Fellas, got a good episode today.
Good episode.
We're 1 month away. Mm-hmm. It's the NFL draft, baby.
I know.
We got it cooking.
Hey,
we got it cooking.
Hey, listen.
So we're going to do our own mock.
Really quick, Paul, Frank, Teach, Coach. I want you guys to do me a favor. You got your phone on you?
I do.
Do you have your phone on you?
I do.
I want to know, just curious minds want to know. I want you to go to wherever you play music from. It could be YouTube. It could be iTunes. I want to know the last song you were listening to before we started the podcast.
Ooh.
And so
I like it.
And this is just for the fans. I just want everybody to know who you are, what you're doing, that kind of thing. And so you can't do anything. Like I have my phone right here, right? And I'm right on my iTunes.
Okay.
And when I start playing the song, it's going to play from exactly where I cut it off at.
You want me to play it?
Play it into your
it.
microphone. No copyright. We don't own the rights to this music. We know that, right? And so I'm going to play mine really quick. Name the tune.
No idea.
Brown Sugar.
Something R&B from the 90s
D'Angelo
and 2000s,
Lady
guaranteed.
is the last thing that was playing in my car when I pulled up. Actually, Teach was dancing in the parking lot. It was fantastic.
I mean, it's
what Teach does, and so I loved it. Who wants to go next, really quick?
I got
Go
mine.
ahead.
Dave Matthews Band.
It's the end.
Chris Stapleton.
It's Cover Me Up, Morgan Waller.
Cover Me Up. I should have known that.
Morgan Wallen. So
yeah.
Yeah,
All right. Coach.
I will give you $1 if either of you can
Coach,
figure this
come on.
out.
What are you?
is this
what
from
are you
some
listening
soundtrack?
to? All right, that's enough. That's enough. I don't know it. Do you know it,
no
Teach?
idea. Yeah, I believe that's Rhythm and Soul by
J. Cole.
Oh, you were
interlude.
on J. Cole,
Jake.
just the interlude. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm always on
Yeah,
J.
yes.
Cole's head.
I mean,
you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
J.
right.
Cole.
Hey, we said it was gonna be everything else. Always on
I
J. Cole's
appreciate you
head.
guys'
All right.
willingness to play in that. I thought it was cool. I thought about it as I was sitting here. I was like,
good.
what were they listening to? We might as well share it with everybody.
J. Cole's got a new song for Creed 3, and so that was kind of started that, and then I listened to Interlude.
How many
after I
Creeds are
listened
they
to
going to
that.
do?
They gotta do at least
yeah,
like
is it
7,
gonna-
right?
Yeah, they're gonna do like they're gonna do 5 or 6 at least.
I
at
think
gotta
that's
be.
of them.
I mean, why not? It's a multi-million-dollar.
Is it good?
It's
Yes.
phenomenal. Have you
Yes.
not seen them?
I think I saw the first one.
The
Were you not a
second
Rocky
one-
I love
fan?
Rocky. I mean, overrated, but I do love the movie.
Ouch. That hurts my soul. I think
Do you
it's
think
properly
so?
rated.
Do you think?
I do. Do you know what's not overrated
that?
or underrated? That's the,
NFL
NFL draft, baby.
Let's do it. Take us there.
So, just so everybody knows at home, this is the 1 month away draft mock. This is your 3 for 3 mock. Again, we mock each other. We're going to be mocking some picks right now for you. No trades, so don't mention them. Don't talk about them. Next week, during our mailbag episode, we already have some questions about trades. So make sure you tune in next week to our mailbag. And as always, again, episode 23, it's coming up. Episode 23 is the 23 podcast. We're going to be live talking about James, talking about Jordan. Who is the man? Okay. So, but with the first pick in the NFL draft, Coach has the Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers are on the clock. Coach, who are you going with?
So I will take this time to talk a little bit because I know who I'm going to pick, and it's an easy one. Did you not see that the coaches were actually having conversations with said quarterback about like, hey, look, we'll get you to a gym. We'll get you in a pickup game when you get to Carolina. So with that knowledge and with his excellent showing at his pro day, C.J. Stroud is become the hands-down odds-on favorite to go to the Carolina Panthers, and I am picking him. Plus, it doesn't hurt that I'm also an Ohio State fan, and it also doesn't hurt that it's been like 3 quarterbacks in a row. Ohio State has had a first-round quarterback. Hey, come on now. Somebody's got to give it up to the franchise. That doesn't happen often. It doesn't happen in Alabama. It doesn't happen in Clemson. It doesn't happen in any of these places that have been consistent winners. Not 3 quarterbacks in a row.
Listen, I love the pick. I think C.J. Stroud is consensus as of right now. I think that's where it stands. I think overall, most on talent out of every quarterback, best pure thrower of the football out of every quarterback in the draft. But I will say this: there could possibly be 5 quarterbacks in the first round of this NFL draft. 5.
I don't think there's going to be 5. I think there's definitely 4. I don't think Hendon Hooker or Tanner McKee.
I think Hooker has a chance. I
just don't see it. I don't.
Okay,
I mean, listen, I get it. I just don't see it. And that's not my bias against Tennessee because I do like Hendon Hooker. I just think there's too many injury questions.
Here's what I'm going to say. Prior to injury, he was probably the 3rd ranked quarterback in the nation.
Yeah, he was probably pushing too.
Yeah.
Just athleticism, his deep ball, it was amazing. Helped by Jalen Hyatt, who's definitely going to get drafted in our mock. So C.J. Stroud, good pick. I would just like Coach to remember, it's draft season, but it's also lying season. So everybody loves everybody until they don't. So, but that's a great pick. That's solid. Carolina moves up and gets their franchise guy. Number 2 pick, the Houston Texans being picked by our own Podfather. All right,
now remember, just to lead this off, we're doing no trades in this mock draft. Okay, we're doing no trades, so we're going right down the line as it stands right now. I'm going to take, if I'm the Houston Texans right now, Anthony Richardson, number 2.
That's an interesting pick. I think we've talked about. I don't think he's your number 1 quarterback that you have personally, but I think you're reading the tea. So this is the pick that you think Houston's going to make, and not necessarily your guy.
Not whatsoever. But I think if you look at DeMeco Ryans, first-year head coach, can he draft a 5'10", 200-pound quarterback at that number 2 position? And I don't think you can. I think you have to go Anthony Richardson just out of stature alone and the pro day.
Very interesting.
He's that guy. I mean, 6'4", again, 244. Probably has risen the most out of the draft. If Houston gets him at 2, which I think, again, quarterback could be in play. I have the 12th pick, so that's Houston's later pick. So we'll see. I love the pick. I love where your head's at. I do think that a quarterback goes to, whether it's Bryce Young, like you're talking about, or Anthony Richardson. So that brings me to 3. Coach, you have anything about that pick?
I actually had him maybe slipping to about 19th or 20th in the draft. So pretty surprising pick for out of the number 2 spot.
19th or 20th.
Yeah,
I don't see.
I had Young and Levis ahead of him, so I just had him going all the way down.
I have Young and Levis. I'm right there with you.
Levis
so thinking
on my board ahead of him.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying it's a decent pick. It's interesting, and it most likely could happen. I mean, if you look at the way the quarterbacks play now is evolving. Anthony Richardson is the prototypical guy. You don't need to be Peyton Manning no more to be an NFL quarterback and get paid millions of dollars.
All right, Teach, go into number 3.
So I have the
You
easiest
do.
pick in the draft, right? I think number 3, the Arizona Cardinals. I think I probably watch the most college football out of the 3 of us. Coach is off doing his coach thing, watching football. There's nobody who watches more NFL than the Podfather. So Saturdays are definitely for Teach. I have Will Anderson. Just mark it in.
Yeah.
They need edge help. They need help everywhere in Arizona. This is not going to be the pick. Arizona is not picking 3rd in this draft. You can mark that down, guaranteed. They are going to move out of that pick, whether they scoot down to 4, whether they scoot down to 7, and somebody trades up. But Will Anderson, just a beast. Missed some time last year at Alabama, but still is the top
I want to
overall
say
rated
this
prospect.
too. I think there's a sneaky place here for a 1st or 2nd defensive guy to be taken off the board, and there's a guy named Tyree Wilson out of Texas Tech, who
Texas Tech
has amazing mobility, amazing strength, size.
Great bend.
Yeah, coming off
Great
the
bend.
edge, and the edge class here. There's a few edge guys that we've seen now, right? And so, but that's just a sneaky thing. But I do love your pick. I think that's where it goes. If Cardinals sit at 3, I don't think they do, but if they do, that's where it goes.
Yeah, I think I have 6 guys with 1st-round grades for just
correct.
edge rushers.
I'm at 5 or 6 also.
That's it. The Cardinals say goodbye to Cliff Kingsbury and hello to Bama star Will Anderson. The 4th pick, we have, again, Coach, we got Indy. So are we looking quarterback here? Are they going to try and help out Gardner Minshew and Shan Steichen? What we got?
So Indy was very closely watching Houston and really thought that Houston might take Bryce Young, and they're elated that he's still there because they were taking Levis if not. So I have Bryce Young going to the Indianapolis
Great
Colts.
comeback story. Love that, Coach.
I just think that they'd rather have that style of quarterback. I think they're going to they love the ability, the pro style offense. He still has a great arm. He's a little smaller. I don't think that bothers them. I think that he is the best available at that point, and it might be Bryce Young at all cost. We could be looking at a draft day type 4 pick scenario anyway. So I love Bryce Young.
Great pick. Again, I think that's where Houston's probably leaning in their draft, and I think Richardson is probably where Indy's leaning. Awesome picks. Great idea. Seattle is the next pick. It has an interesting decision. Seattle has the 2nd most draft capital of this draft in terms of just if you're going by the old school Jimmy Johnson / new wave era of points. So they're looking great. Podfather, what does Seattle do here? Do they go out and get their quarterback of the future, or do they try to win now with players? What do you got
I
them
think
cooking
right
up?
now for Seattle, I think Geno got a 3-year deal. I think he's still young enough. What is Geno, 29, 30, something like that?
I think he's 30.
Is he 34? Is he that old?
Let's take a look. You go ahead.
Anyways, I think Seattle, their prototypical edge rusher fits who I just said. I love that pick for a Pete Carroll system. I'm going Tyree Wilson, the edge rusher, out of Texas Tech at Seattle. They need an edge rusher. They need some pressure guys. That's where I'm going to go at Seattle.
32.
Yep, 32 years young. Tyree Wilson, like I said, has probably the best bend of all the edge rushers in the draft. Awesome. He has been in the conversation with, hey, he could be the sneaky guy that sneaks up and unseats Will Anderson. So good pick there. I just want to check in, Coach. Is that where you would have gone, or would you have gone quarterback?
No, I would have definitely went quarterback with 32 years old, Geno Smith. I think he's on a 3-year deal. I think this is a great spot for Levis to go under a pro quarterback, to go watch Geno Smith as a professional, and he handles his job. Give him 2 or 3 years. I love the Jordan Love effect. Just give him some time, let him mature, let him understand the process. Even if they took Anthony Richardson at this point, I would have said that too, whatever was available, because just that contract for Geno Smith is beautiful. It's beautiful for another quarterback to be in there, because at 35, Geno is probably going to be. Geno could play a little longer than that, but I don't see it a high caliber point. So I would definitely, if I'm them, I'm looking for late round quarterbacks. I think, as Alex alluded to earlier, as Alex the Podfather alluded to earlier, a Hendon Hooker might be in later rounds available, second,
third round. Yeah,
and I think that could be just as good of a pick for them. Either way. So honestly, I don't hate the Tyree.
I think Like I
it's a
said, I
good
think
pick.
there's 6 to 7 quarterbacks who could have decent NFL careers here in this draft, and
Yeah.
there's a few early second round, early third round picks that I'm looking at. Seattle has their picks. I'm going defense. They need an edge rusher. I think it's their best bet.
That's a great pick, you know. And as coach is alluding to, I have Detroit at 6. I also have Detroit at 18. So I have a lot of things. You know, they address their cornerback position. They address their defensive backfield. So that's great. I'm going to take the wild card, and I'm going to pick Will Levis. I think, and I know you guys are going to say this is too early. I think this is the perfect time to bridge to a new guy. Let Will Levis go ahead, sit a year. There's not going to be any pressure in Detroit. Jared Goff can go ahead and ball out for Dan Campbell. They can go ahead and let Levis sit for a year and learn. And I think this could be a very similar situation to Patrick Mahomes sitting behind Alex Smith for a year and them still moving around pieces, setting up for the next year. So I'm going to take Will Levis, quarterback out of Kentucky. Had a rough year last year. I mean, didn't have many pieces. If you look back at the tape from 2 years ago, he looked a lot better when he had NFL caliber wide receivers and an offensive line.
Hey, I love the pick for you. When I look at it, I don't think it's far fetched to see Detroit go 3 to 4 picks out of the gate on defense. I think they had a good offense last year. I think their wide receiver core is okay. I'm not sure that Will Levis fits right here with Jared Goff just getting a payday. And so I like it. I think you could be onto something. I think they probably go cornerback here. I think their secondary is weak, but that's what I think.
I think. They just addressed it with, you know, they went out and got Sutton. Defensive back Sutton and Gardner Johnson. So I think if they had not addressed it, then I'm looking at Christian Gonzalez. But because, hey, and I could see them going Christian Gonzalez. I can see them going Jalen Carter. You know what? We'll go ahead and have you. But I don't think Detroit's going to be in this position where they're picking this high. So this is a lot. And they have an additional pick. So if they didn't have that additional pick, I probably would have went defense or tried to get a tight end maybe. But since this is, hey, might as well go ahead. And if you're gonna get wet, go swimming, kid. Go swim and have fun.
You just ruined the entire draft for the Las Vegas Raiders.
I did that on purpose. Yes. You're welcome. You're welcome. Go ahead, coach. Coach is looking unfazed. He looks like, hey,
I didn't have a quarterback at all.
Wow, that's okay. So who do you have for the Las Vegas Raiders at number 7?
And the reason why is because I expected Stroud, Levis, and Young to be off the board. I don't think they covet Richardson with what they do. I think they want to go a different direction. With that, I have them going cornerback. Christian Gonzalez taking the number 1 rated quarterback. It's number 2 on some boards, depending on whose ranking or power rankings you're on. But he's definitely got athletic ability. He's got size. He's actually lacking a little bit in size, but his athletic ability and his top end speed can cover any wide receiver. Don't matter how fast they are, or who they are. His agility package is amazing.
Good pick.
Had a great season for Oregon. Shut down half the field. Again, that defense looked suspect when he was off of the field. So awesome pick. I love that pick for them. Again, I think they're probably going to try and go quarterback depending on how it falls out. We could also see a trade up for the Raiders. But that's awesome. Next, we head to the ATL where the Podfather has the pick for the Falcons.
So ATL, I think this is the end of the slide of Carter. Once we get to this pick at Atlanta defensively, that line has to be redone. They lost a lot of pieces a couple years ago. So this is where I'm going to go. Jalen Carter, the Georgia Bulldog, staying in Georgia, going to Atlanta, and really solidifying the interior of that defensive line.
Stud pick. I love that. If it falls like that, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I don't mind. Again, it seems like a lot of the legality issues have cleared up, so that's a good thing. I also don't mind with the things that just happened, him staying around some people who could be positive influence from the University of Georgia, right down the road a couple hours. So that's perfect. Great pick. Again, I think you're right. I think 8 is probably the end of Jalen Carter's slide. I have the Bears. Remember, the Bears traded down from number one with Carolina. They got a lot of weapons. They've addressed a lot of things. One thing that they need to continue to do is protect
You got to go
Justin
OT
Fields.
here.
So I'm definitely going offensive tackle, and I'm going Paris Johnson Jr. from Coach, the Ohio State University.
Oh,
So we got the Buckeye connection
pick.
here, okay? So Paris Johnson
Great
is
pick.
the pick.
I don't think he's the best lineman in the draft. Skoronski out of Northwestern, super solid.
Best tackle.
Right? And so, but good pick because he's going to need that on the edge, maybe protecting his blind side. Justin Fields, young quarterback.
Absolutely.
They're trying to do big things in Chicago, so I love that pick, Teach.
Thank you very much. Coach, that gives you the Eagles, the first of the two Eagles picks. Again, we couldn't work it out to where Podfather gets them, and he picks Stetson Bennett in the first round. Sorry, maybe next time. Maybe next mock. We'll see that. Coach, who you got the Eagles picking?
so I have two guys on my draft board right now that was like their guys. I'm thinking that they want real bad.
I smell a wide receiver.
Oh no. I have.
I thought maybe
my
wide receiver one would come out here.
Peter. No, I'm thinking Peter Scarons. I was thinking, but I think I got a sneaky pick that they're going to go after. I think they're going to try to build the running back up and not sign Zeke and go get Bijan. I'm taking my man.
Hate the pick for Philly. Love it for Philly. Hate them for Philly. I think they have bigger issues than running back. And one running back at 10, you're already paying him premium dollar in the NFL at 10 for a running back. I think Bijan slides to 17 or 18. But yeah, good pick for you, Frank.
Bijan has been rumored to be inching his way toward the top 10. So that is quite the insight. There you go. Coach with his burner. Again, he's on his buddy Twitter. He's checking it sources out. So that's a good pick. Bijan might be that guy that defies the rules that I think the Podfather and I both kind of live by, adhere by of, hey, if you're getting a running back, better be at the end of round one. You can get one in round two, use them for 4 or 5 years. Don't worry about paying them and kick them to the curb. So Podfather, you got next Tennessee at 11.
So Tennessee at 11. I'm going to go with Peter Skoronski out of Northwestern. We're going to keep with that offensive line in Tennessee. Derrick Henry is going to run the ball.
Love that pick.
We know what they do, and until they get a fix there, I think it could be a sneaky place for Tennessee to maybe trade back, get later on, grab another pick, and get Hooker in the second round. But as of right now, I'm going to say Tennessee Skoronski.
I could see that. I mean, they used a third round pick on Malik Willis last year, and I get it's not that hard to move off a third round pick. Are you going to do that to draft somebody in the second round? I love Skoronski's pick. I would use him as an interior lineman. I would not even try and make him an offensive tackle. I would go ahead, kick him inside, let him become that Quentin Nelson from day one, just moving people around.
Be beautiful for Henry too. Be beautiful for Henry.
Absolutely, and you better utilize that while you can, because next thing you know, we're going to blink and Derrick Henry is going to be a footnote.
Yeah.
I get the second
really
Texans
quick,
pick.
Really
go
quick,
right ahead.
I want to revisit that number 10 pick because he's got me boiling over here. Listen, who did Chicago let walk this NFL offseason?
David Montgomery.
Don't be surprised at number 9 if they don't give Justin Fields some help on that Bijan Robinson deal if he's getting inside the top 10. Don't be surprised.
Also, Bijan at the 10th pick the 10th pick last year made $8 million. So it's not that much of a premium to take him at 10 or 9.
It's still a premium at top 10.
It's 8 to 9 million depending on whatever.
Yeah, I mean, but then you look at again my pick at 12, the Houston Texans. Dameon Pierce, they got him late, and it worked out. Hopefully, injury bug doesn't bite him again. He's cleared for the season, but he was having a heck of a year, and that's cost controlled. So I need to figure out what I'm doing here. I don't need quarterback because we got Anthony Richardson. Thank you, Podfather. But you know what? I will team him up with maybe some more weapons. I think we could use some more weapons. John Mechie III is coming back. We traded Brandon Cooks, so that leaves a wide receiver spot. Is there a wide receiver in Texas that could help Houston out? I think there is. Let's go Quentin Johnson from TCU.
Wow, you have Quentin Johnson going wide receiver 1 over the Ohio State guy, right?
I do. I think because I think it's hard that we didn't see, and I get it. Jackson Smith had an amazing pro day, so that's what everybody's talking about right now. He didn't play last year because of injury. When in doubt, give me, as Todd McShay, Todd calls him, the pterodactyl. All right,
I
Quentin
had 2
Johnson.
receivers slotted above Quentin Johnson. The Ohio State Smith Njiba. How do you say his last name? Right, and so
Jackson Smith and Njimba.
That's it.
And then you had Jordan Addison.
Also, I think Jordan Addison's sneaky, really fast, played the slot really well. But I like the pick, Quentin Johnson, Texans. You give it, team him right up with Richardson. Love that.
I just think it makes sense. I love the guys who geographically stick around somewhere they're kind of used to. When Josh Allen went to Buffalo, holler at the Bills. Again, a cold weather quarterback going to a cold weather place. It just fits. I think it's just natural. So that gives us the New Jersey Jets at number 13. This could be the Packers pick. Who knows? But let's go ahead and do it with the Jets. Coach, who you got the Jets picking?
I got them taking, not trading the first round pick because we're not doing trades right now, but I got them getting Aaron Rodgers because it's just inevitable. And with that, and the fact that they already have help all over the offensive field, why not go Broderick Jones, help shore up that offensive line to give Aaron Rodgers just another second of time, another playmaking offensive lineman that can help him out. He's big, he's strong, he can handle the load. He's a good player. It's a little bit of a reach, but that's what the Jets do anyway. They just reach.
Well, last year their reaches worked out. I mean, Sauce Gardner is probably the best rookie that they had. Played amazingly, and again, you cannot go wrong with Georgia offensive line.
No,
he's definitely, and I think the biggest thing, if other than the Aaron Rodgers trade, is Coach's boys coming back. Breece Hall.
Yeah,
Breece Hall is going to come back, and I think he's going to be a maybe first or second round fantasy football draft by one Coach LaFado.
I don't know. He broke my heart, but maybe third round.
Podfather, you got the New England Patriots next.
Right,
who you got them picking?
So,
Hunter?
No, my actual pick for New England on my board would be Bijan Robinson. I think he goes to New England.
Okay,
that's what I think happens. But
lost Damian Harris.
You know what I mean?
Good.
Now for this, I'm going to go. The tight end class is so heavy, right? Do you want to go Kincaid? Do you want to go Mayer? Whichever one. It doesn't matter. I'm going to say the New England Patriots revisit the days of Gronk. They go high on a tight end, and I think they're going to take best available tight end on the board at the moment. We can say maybe Mayer. We can say maybe Kincaid, whichever one we want to go with. But that's where I think New England ends up.
Well, let me just give you a little background, right? So if we're talking the best pass catcher, it's Kincaid. If you talk about the best duel, it's probably Michael Mayer, Notre Dame. If you're talking about most upside, so the highest ceiling and possibly lowest floor guy, it's Darnell Washington from Georgia. I mean, the manimal himself. So who do you think?
I think Mayer goes at New England because I think that's Bill Belichick's style. I would take Kincaid. I have him ranked number 1 on my tight end board. I think tight ends are much more than just blockers now. I think they have to be able to stretch the field, open the middle of the field up. But Bill Belichick, I think Robinson's a pick at 14 if he's still there. He's not on our draft, so I'm going to go Michael Mayer at tight end.
That's great pick. I have the Green Bay Packers next, assuming that they're still there, assuming that Jordan Love is the guy. I'm going to go get him weapons, and I will go get Jackson Smith and Jigba, right, from Ohio State. And listen, it's if he does not go down with injury this year, who knows what happens, right? Who knows what happens if he gets as many balls thrown his way? Ohio State, I think, Coach, don't they have another decent wide receiver, Marvin something Jr., right? Marvin something Harrison.
Marvin Harrison Jr. was described as one coach as it's like going to a Lamborghini dealership and you can't buy it because it's next year's model.
Oh man, I'm telling you,
We've talked about in earlier episodes. Tune in again. Go back, listen to our earlier mailbag when we said it's not right. He should be in the NFL draft this year, but that's the way it goes. So I'm going to take JSN, baby, new Packer weapon for Jordan Love, throwing the ball everywhere. We love
Great
seeing
pick.
that.
As I was looking at the Packers, they never drafted a wide receiver in the first round Rodgers' entire career. That's crazy.
So if he leaves, that would be the perfect spike
That's
pick, right?
crazy. Great pick. I love that.
Perfect.
That's like give him the boot and give him the draft also. Love that.
Just go tight end, wide receiver, and offensive line like the first three picks. That would be such a hey, I'm gonna go ahead and payback sucks. All right, AA Ron. Now staying in the DC area, we got the Commanders. So, Coach, who you got the Commanders or the Commies picking?
Interesting here. I said if Anthony Richardson's available, this would be a spot for them to go to. But that was way off the board. And my number one pick was still available for what I thought would be there. And Devon Witherspoon, bringing a cornerback help to the Washington Commanders, was their highest player on the board. On my board, I had all the other players were kind of marked off. So I'm feeling good about my draft so far. Haven't had to scramble and pick anybody that I didn't have as a backup chamber ready. So, I like Devon for Washington. They already have a dynamite defense. They're going to add to it. That's kind of what Washington does. It's what they're known for. And I think it just rolls into who they are.
Podfather, as the resident Cowboys fan, what is your response to the Commanders'
pick? I love
pick?
it. That's their pick because it's not where they should go. Washington has a Jacoby Brissett problem, a Howell problem. They have a quarterback problem. And so at that time, I'm not saying this is their year to draft a quarterback. I think Hooker right here is a reach. But I do think you're going to have to run the ball. And in order to run the ball in the NFL, you got to have offensive line. And so I think it's offensive line for Washington or bust. The only other option I have for Washington is maybe a tight end. Grab the second best tight end if the first is already off the board. Give their quarterback a safety valve, another weapon. I think that could work. But I love that they went cornerback because you might as well be really heavy on defense and nothing on offense. I love that.
Listen. They're just like the Jets. They're not going to do what they should.
Yeah, I love that for them.
But if that is the pick, if that's how it works out, I don't mind seeing that pass rush, and now you try to add to the secondary because it seems like, listen, Frank knows, right? Somebody near and dear to all of us. One Poppy Chandler always says they just can't get the offense to figure out at the same time as the defense. So maybe next year's the defense.
So what was the method of winning in the NFL this year? If you get to 30, you can win ball games. Like
30. Hey, whoever puts up 35 first wins.
So now, if you're playing Washington, if you could put up 14. Like you could win ball games. You know what I mean? Like
we'll see what Sam Howell gets to do. Sam Howell's he's going to be the guy. We'll see what he does. One team that always has a strong defense and a coach that has never had a losing record is the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, a Podfather, who do you got? The steel curtain.
Yeah. So
picking?
Here, I mean, I'm broken right now between Addison. But there's a heartstring legacy pick that I think Pittsburgh could do.
Oh,
and it's Joey Porter Jr. I think that's where Tomlin goes at number one. He has the draft grade for it. He has the talent for it. They do have a need there at cornerback in Pittsburgh. And so I'm going to say Joey Porter Jr., cornerback out of Penn State. And I think it makes just an amazing amount of sense for him to be in Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh was my second favorite team when I was a kid. And so I love the pick for Pittsburgh.
It would, if the stars lined up again, if I got my draft board right on the back, right? I erased everything so these fellas couldn't see it. Okay. So let me teach y'all a little something.
I'll teach.
Penn State guy, Pittsburgh guy, right? Was the number one rated cornerback coming out of high school and on everybody's mock draft before this year. Now, is this a result of Penn State kind of looking pretty weak against some better competition? Maybe. But I'll tell you one thing. If they get Joey Porter Jr. in a Pittsburgh Steeler locker room, I guarantee that's successful.
I agree.
Those things just work out.
I agree.
Now, I have my second Detroit pick. Apparently, I'm loving the Lions, just how it worked out. And again, the first time I went Will Levis, quarterback. Now I have to find some immediate help. I need to go ahead and make sure that we're good to go. I'm not going to pick defense. I'm going to stay on the offensive side because, again, do what you need. There's a big hole. There's a big hole at tight end, a TJ Hawkinson type hole. So what I'm going with is I'm going to say, forget it. We're going to make this the greatest show on turf. Let's have Goff throw it everywhere, and let's let him throw it to Dalton Kincaid, the pass catching Ute.
Good pick. Good pick.
I think the defensive line for the Lions is going to improve. I think they have a linebacking problem, but that's not going to be addressed in the first round. No, thank you. So might as well let's go ahead and chuck up.
I think somebody on the other side of the line from Aiden Hutchinson, Lucas Van Ness has fallen tremendously in this draft compared to where a lot of people have him at. Okay, we're at 17.
He wasn't there at the beginning of the year. He's slowly climbed up there.
He has a motor that doesn't stop. The kid is aggressive. He fits perfect at the Motor City. That's where I would have went if I was Detroit. But great pick. Love it for you.
But what we do love is the fact that Tom Brady retired, so we don't have to hear about him anymore. And his former team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, are up. Coach, who you got them picking?
I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking Lucas Van Ness. It's funny you just talking about him.
That slide didn't last long.
Yeah, that was my guy for them. If he fell to them, that was their number one pick. I also had Drew Sanders on the board, but I felt like that if he was still there, this was the guy that would end up in Tampa Bay. It seems like a nice, strong Tampa Bay type of move. We'll see what happens with Jimmy G, or not Jimmy G. Jimmy G's the replacement of Jimmy G.
Are you talking?
Are you stroking out right now? I'm worried about you.
Yeah, what's his name?
Tom Brady's replacement?
Tom Brady's replacement
Baker Mayfield.
Could be Kyle Trask. Could be Baker Mayfield.
I'm sorry, I'm confused.
Your wife's favorite player. You forgot your wife's favorite player.
Baker Mayfield.
Yes.
Or Kyle Trask.
No, it's not Kyle Trask. It's Baker
Could
Mayfield.
be.
Lucas Van Ness is my pick.
It's a great pick. I don't know whether they line him up at defensive end, like Podfather was saying. Have him just be a pure edge rusher. He played both inside and outside in college. And I think, Podfather, like I said, you watch more NFL football than anybody I know. So it's probably, hey, they're going to line him up everywhere like they did Hutchinson last year.
Very much
for
Detroit.
Same.
Correct.
Now, you also get your second Seattle Seahawks pick. The first time you picked Tyree Wilson. Where are you going now?
Listen, Linda, here we are right now. I am going to go with the greatest pro day of any defensive lineman ever in the NFL history, and I'm going to go Nolan Smith, the outside linebacker / edge out of Georgia for Seattle. They got two pieces on the line in their first round. Love it for Seattle. Love where they're going to be at. Nolan Smith has fallen to 20.
That's you know what? And he's probably one who it really hurt his draft stock not being able to play in the college football playoffs. And then everything that he lost, because he went from a first round, hey, he's going to be a first round pick, down to, okay, maybe he's
early third,
third round guy. And then now he's jumped right back in. The only cause for concern, weight, 238 pounds. I think I heard somebody the other day say, yeah, but when's the last time a player went to the NFL and lost weight? He's going to gain weight. He's going to plump up.
That's a Micah Parsons size.
We can listen, we can get him on the Teach Nelson weight gainer plan. I got you, son. Call me up, holler at me. I got you.
Take care of this today.
Can we go ahead? Let's all make the Dolphins pick this year. Can we all do that together? Who are the Dolphins picking, guys?
Tampering.
No one. Asuno. It means no one in Italian.
What does it say it again?
Asuno.
Asuno means no one.
He was a wrestler too, Yokozuna, right?
No,
for
Yokozuna.
WWF back in the day.
Guy.
Oh,
no,
okay.
that means big guy.
No,
yeah, that means big guy in diaper. Yokozuna.
Listen. I'm just trying to give an international flair, okay? Sorry, all right? International flair. I get the Chargers, not the San Diego Chargers, which means a Wales fin, but the Los Angeles Chargers. Listen, they need help a little bit everywhere too. I think it's probably best to go get offensive line help and continue to protect Justin Herbert. I thought about wide receiver here, but I think they can make it one more year. They made janitors look really good last year. So I'm going to go Let's go Osiris
Really?
Torrance. Probably a little high for Osiris. I like his versatility of playing center or guard. I would go offensive tackle here, but I think they can solve those issues. I'd rather have the middle strong, especially for those defensive linemen that are going to face this year. So, yep, I'm going to go Osiris Torrance.
Okay, so I thought if you were going to go offensive lineman, you had Darnell Wright, you had Broderick Jones, a couple guys.
Broderick Jones is off, and Darnell Wright's more of a tackle.
Yeah, you're going tackle, right? I thought you would go tackle, somebody that can move inside, outside. But I think that's reaching for Chargers. I think okay, maybe Addison falling this low would have been a good pick at San Diego with the history of their wide receivers.
I can see them moving off of Keenan Allen and then drafting Addison. But right now, if the draft was right now today, I think they go offensive guard. Ideally, they trade up and get Skoronski. I think that's if we got to move up, Brandon Staley's coaching for his job, so you better get a premier prospect. Too. But right here in the draft, it's probably a little reach for Osiris, but I'll take him here with his versatility. Next up on the block is B More Blocks. That's right. The Ravens, no, they don't have a quarterback. Well, yeah, technically, they have a Pro Bowl quarterback in Tyler Huntley right now.
They do.
So who are they picking? He was a Pro Bowler. It will always say on his Football Reference page, Pro Bowler. So, Coach, who do you have them picking?
As of the moment, they still have Lamar Jackson. And say that nobody trades for him because there's some weird blackball stuff going on. So you would think that Baltimore would be like, let's make them happy. Let me go get Addison. Let me go get Gibbs, a running back, right? But it's Baltimore. So because it's Baltimore, let's go get Drew Sanders, the linebacker, and let's try to make this thing work, you know? That just seems, for me, it just seems like the Baltimore-ish pick, and that's who we're going with my pick.
I think there's –
I thought you were going to say if there was a linebacker from Alabama that was worth a first-round pick other than Will Anderson, I guarantee you that's where they go. Ozzie loves his Bama friends, but that's Drew Sanders is probably the most complete linebacker in the draft this year. He's not the most versatile. He is not the most athletic, but he is the most complete linebacker and pro ready. So that's a great pick. Baltimore loves using its linebackers. I think you hit it right on the head that they need offensive help. So them not getting any offensive help is probably just another thing with Baltimore. They got to figure out the Lamar stuff, and they might wait until after the draft and then grab 2 first-round picks from somebody in 24 and 25.
Yeah.
We do have the Vikings next. Now, again, full disclosure, we want to be transparent here, right? If this was fantasy football, this would fit perfect for Podfather, who rode Jay Jettis and Kirk Cousins to a fantasy football win. So who do you have them picking at 23?
First of all, I told you guys draft night, don't let me don't let me get what I'm going to get, because I'm going to pair people. And I did, and it worked out amazingly. Took me to the 2022-2023 Fantasy Homies Football League Championship. I will retain. I will defend next year, win again next year, because my draft strategies are amazing. As you can see through this mock draft here, Baltimore should go Addison. They got to get Lamar a wide receiver. Since they did not, Minnesota Vikings, we got Adam Thielen gone in Minnesota, right? We got to replace him. I think they go Hendon Hooker from Tennessee at Minnesota. You're going to let Kurt sit when he's done, because Kurt's only got another year left in Minnesota if they don't make it through the first round. Okay, when it's over, Hendon Hooker, Minnesota Vikings.
That is a huge reach. So you didn't go Jordan Addison. That is a huge reach.
I love it.
I love it. Listen.
Give Hooker a quarterback coach like Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota. Same thing I said last year when I drafted Kirk Cousins, and you guys were like, "Why would you do that?" I was like, "Now he has an offensive coach."
Be honest though, you said a lot of stuff draft night, some of which didn't come true.
I did. A lot of it was crazy, right? And so I get that.
It is, but that's okay. That's strategy, strategy. Way to go.
100 things and I hit on 7.
Hit on 3.
Whatever. Three
Hey,
for three.
I
Yeah,
hit on him.
Because we'll forget about all the things I missed.
So-
but I'll remind you of everything that I got right. And so,
You
Yeah.
absolutely will.
Hendon
Deservedly
Hooker
so.
at 24
have-
in Minnesota.
I have Hendon Hooker as my 120th player rated in this draft.
I did that.
And the multiple ones that I've gotten, he's average is 120 rated. I had him dropping maybe to the third or fourth round. So this is a big
This is big.
stretch.
The only good
stretch.
thing about that would be they retain a 5th year that they can keep him
That's
for.
right.
So, and again, I can see a trade down and then go in there, but again, no trade. So hey, you're getting your
Getting
guy.
him at
All right.
24.
I
just
don't
got
hate
so
it.
excited about this pick that I just spilt my Dr. Pepper all down my shirt. FYI, I pulled a coach
You pulled a coach.
here
Pulled a
tonight on
coach.
episode 21. So, yes.
You pulled a coach on the Roberto Clemente.
Super
Episode.
interested in the next pick.
All right, so Jacksonville. Okay, do I want to listen? There's tight ends abound, you know, and I think maybe pairing somebody with I could go offensive tackle, cornerback. There's a lot of picks. He's gone. I'm not going to pick him. I said they should target offensive tackle. I'm going to stay with my gut and go Darnell Wright, Tennessee, offensive tackle. Let's go ahead, try and protect Trevor Lawrence, Podfather's third best quarterback in
He's
the
number
league for
3.
next year. He is number 3. So Darnell Wright from Tennessee. Again, looks great in pass coverage. Looked great early. He is going to be that bookend tackle. So now they can move some other pieces around. That's fine. Yeah, I like the pick there. So we'll go ahead. That Jacksonville's been very quiet for a team who made some noise
they
last
made
year.
a lot of moves last year, and so I think they're pretty spent. They re-signed some of their guys. They're in a good place. They're only going to be a year better.
Great trade for a wide receiver. I believe
Calvin Ridley,
there is going to come
yeah.
in. You get another offensive lineman. I believe they're going to.
When you move Christian
damage.
Kirk, a talent like
We'll
that,
see.
in the slot into the number 2 wide receiver spot, and you're going to let Calvin Ridley play, he'll play the 1. He's just a better talent than Christian Kirk. They've made some noise already.
Does Calvin Ridley have 1,100 receiving yards next year?
No, I don't
No.
think so.
because he's just gonna because that's not the type of quarterback that Pretty Boy is.
I think next year he could be. I think they're going to throw it all the way around the ball, everywhere on the field. I think if he does not have, 1,100 receiving yards, that's sad. With 17 games,
Well, they
that's a
just
problem.
paid Evan Ingram premium money, so he's going to have 1,500 yards
They did.
as a tight end because Jacksonville quarterback is the third best quarterback in the NFL.
Well, speaking of quarterbacks, team that just re-signed theirs, the New Jersey Giants. Next up on the clock, Coach. Who do you have the Giants from New
There's only
Jersey
one pick
getting?
here,
The
Coach.
Giants are elated. They're absolutely elated that a Jordan Anderson has fell all the way to them. Did not expect him to be on the board. Expected him gone 2 times over. Was really looking at Zay Flowers too, but because Addison's still here, we just got to go with the goods, and he's the goods.
Listen. Well, first of all, Jordan Addison.
Yeah.
We'll take that. But again, for those of you guys just tuning in, Coach does have speech dyslexia, so he confuses some of the letters. That's okay, though.
You said
That's okay. He works through
you
it.
I
said
said that.
Anderson.
No, you definitely said Jordan Anderson, which we would have run up to the podium and said, "Yeah, so they can take them. We'll take Jordan Addison instead." But that would have been a Minnesota type move.
So
But we like that.
Jordan Addison is definitely the guy that dropped down. I love him. I think that they're elated that it happened. I had them maybe looking at Michael Mayer or Kincaid if they fell, but Addison would have been the number 1 guy on their board.
Yeah, it's a great pick, especially a value pick right here. He's probably off the board a lot earlier in the real draft, just because the way everybody values it. We have now come to the part of the draft where both the Podfather and myself get very excited because we actually get to pick for our own teams.
It's
With the 26th pick in the NFL draft, the Dallas Cowboys select Podfather.
we
Go ahead.
are going to take so I had tight end here. My tight ends are gone. I don't want to reach with the Georgia kid. I thought about Bijan Robinson here, if he fell, he didn't fall. I think Dallas trades up and gets their guy on draft night. But being that we are right here, I'm going to take Brian Brees, the defensive tackle, out of Clemson here and solidify the interior of that defense. I think we're still going to resign. We're gonna resign Hankins. We're going to get him. We've got good pieces, but one more weapon to the Dan Quinn side of the football, I think never hurts. And so that's where we're at. Dallas Cowboys. Go win Super Bowl, boys.
Coach, what do you think of that pick?
I loved the possibility of them picking up Gibbs here. I thought Gibbs would be really nice. Alabama running back. I don't know. That's where I actually thought you were leaning there. Brees is just phenomenal. It's a good pick too. Dallas picking defense, especially defensive linemen to part with. I mean, it always works. It's like Baltimore taking linebackers. It's just what they do. And again, what we often think is the sexy pick is not what Dallas does. We've always want them to take like the Bijans or whatever, but this makes more Dallas sense than picking a defensive tackle. It makes sense.
It does.
I like it.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. I think it's interesting. I think there's a better defensive tackle on the board. I'm not going to pick him. I think there's an underrated one who shares a lot of similar characteristics to one Aaron Donald, including the school he went from. I'm not going to pick him here.
He's got short arm syndrome, and what we know about defensive tackles, unless they're named Aaron Donald, right? You can't get off blocks, and so we don't want to reach there. I think where we're at, the kid from Clemson, high motor. He dealt with some personal issues in college, kept him out a little while, but I think his motor is there, his size is there, his strength is there. Dan Quinn will get the best out of him. I think it's a great pick at the first round for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I do think it's great. I think it's great. Let's just take a pause from the mock. Who do you really want them to pick? Like who do you ideally say in a perfect scenario they do this and get so
in a perfect scenario, I think we trade up and get Bijan Robinson. That's where I want to land. I think my second pick is we trade up and get Austin Kincaid. I think Kincaid is our guy. We have to replace Schultz. Dallas does tremendous with
Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think when Dallas has a legitimate tight end, you saw what Witten did to the Cowboys, how long he was there. I think tight ends are different now, and Kincaid is more the Travis Kelce, more of the stretch the field, more of the get open. I think that adds a new element. We got speed with Brandon Cooks. We got speed with Tony Pollard now. And so I think that element's important. We'll see what they do, but those would be my top two. Kincaid would be number two. Robinson, of course, is my dream. That's my wish.
Okay, it's can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. Like you said, I'm waiting for him to make sure he doesn't spill. Okay, yeah, can't go wrong at all. There, I love the pick there. I didn't have Brian Brees going to the Bills. For my Buffalo Bills, I want to look in a couple areas. I'm going to go with, again, the needs that I have them are tight end, offensive guard, center, defensive line, and safety. I could go Brian Branch, Alabama, safety. I could go Darnell Washington. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and pick somebody that me and my father, Sergeant Major retired Nelson, talk about all the time. I'm going to go Jalen Hyatt, Tennessee, and go ahead and go another weapon. Now, he is a get the top off the defense wide receiver. I'm not going Zay Flowers. Give me the 6-foot guy who can do everything that Zay Flowers, the 5'9" guy, can do. He's physical. He can go ahead and he looked amazing with Hendon Hooker this year. For a guy who picked Hendon Hooker in the first round, I don't know if it was Hyatt helping Hooker because Hendon Hooker didn't look like that at Virginia Tech. So I think it's a little bit of Hyatt is the main. So that's where I'm going.
Question for you. Yeah. Teach. Who was throwing Zay Flowers the ball?
Yeah, I think it was Peter Skoronsky's stepbrother's cousin's former roommate, Joe Skoronsky,
And
if I'm right.
And listen,
Maybe.
The ghost of Doug Flutie?
Doug Flutie there in Boston College. So listen, what I'm saying is, I think he's 5'9". He does not have size. For that, I'm with you. I don't know if he's there. I don't know if I would take him in the first round. But to fill the slot underneath Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis, who are two ultra-sized wide receivers, right? And so I think a little speed, a little highlight reel in the slot. Zay Flowers is ranked higher to me. I think the Tennessee kid is a little stretch, but good for you. I like it for you.
I think his game tape shows that he can take the top off every defense. I love pairing him up with Josh Allen's arm and just saying, book it, kid. I'm going to throw it to the goalpost. Just be there. So that's what I have. That brings us to the next pick, the Cincinnati Bengals. Coach, who do you have the Cincinnati Bengals picking?
I have the Cincinnati Bengals going probably a pretty predictable route. I had Michael Mayer on the board just in case he was there. That was more of a dream pick, if it happened.
That's John's brother, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
We're going with Kelly Ringo.
Oh, Keely Ringo, Georgia.
No, Kelly. It's Kelly. He is what I call
Keely Ringo.
him. It's Keely.
It's definitely I told you that verbal dyslexia. We are getting shirts made. Okay, we're gonna have a 5K race for the cure.
Yes.
No. There's no cure for awesomeness.
Let me tell you, Ringo was no star in the college football playoff. He got burnt a lot. Those of you guys who got that Beatles reference, you're probably 50 or 60 years old. But listen, he has done a lot of work. He's looked really good at the combine. He's looked really good. He's shed some weight, and he's this weird monster back where he's big enough to cover tight ends. He's quick enough to cover most wide receivers. Now, the guys like Quentin Johnson, he's never going to be able to cover. Marvin Harrison Jr., he's never going to be able to cover. That's just, I mean, he couldn't in the semi-title game or the semifinal game. He couldn't anywhere else at Georgia. But he is definitely that monster backer who you can put on tight ends, running backs, and some wide receivers. So that's a good pick.
He fits right in with Cincinnati. If he gets beaten but in coverages, it's a perfect Cincinnati cornerback because they all get beaten coverages.
That's true. And again, Cincinnati's one of these teams where it's going to be an interesting draft. Are they going to go all in on their offense and continue to select offensive line, or do they try and start fixing that defense and saying, okay, we're going to score 32 points. Let's just try and hold them to 28. So I don't mind it at all. New Orleans Saints are next up on the clock. Podfather,
so out of New Orleans, I think right now they lost Marcus Davenport. I think Davenport's their biggest loss of the offseason. I'm going to go Myles Murphy, defensive end, out of Clemson, going to New Orleans. He fell further than what I had him at. I had him around the 17, 18, 19 mark. But so how do you not love him at 30, right? And so if I'm New Orleans, that's the pick right now. Myles Murphy, defensive end, Clemson.
That's good. And again, that Clemson defense still looked really good. The offense had its problems. They had quarterback issues. They had a little bit of offensive line issues. What they didn't have issues with was the defense. And that's with their coach Venables being the new head coach in Oklahoma. They did not miss a beat. So that's a great pick. Again, the Saints getting Myles Murphy, edge rusher from Clemson, in lieu of that pick that used to belong to the 49ers. So next we have the Philadelphia Eagles, and I am going to take an absolute wild card. I'm going to take Kalijah Kancey from Pitt, defensive lineman. Again, he is a lot of risk, a lot of reward. Grade. I think the upside is there. Third round grade from one thing that's great. That's awesome. I think from other combine things that I've seen, it's a high second, low first round grade. So that fits perfectly right here. Again, I mean, if you're looking at Pro Football Focus, I don't think they didn't change their stats since March 6th. A lot has happened since March 6th. I'm going to go ahead and take Kancey here. I think he's a stud pickup for a defense that secondary looks fine. They need help on that defensive line. Could have went offensive tackle, but they just re-signed Lane Johnson. They extended Lane Johnson again, he's going to get $36 million next year, and he's going to get a lot of money the next 2 years as well. So we'll go Kancey here from Pitt.
Great pick.
And that leads to the very last pick. Coach is going to go ahead and pick somebody for the Kansas City Chiefs, the Super Bowl champions of the world. Let's see who Patty McTouchdowns get. Are we looking at a pass catcher? Are we looking at defensive help? You got a big Bearcat bulldog from Georgia just sitting there in the face, or we have Zay Flowers. Let's see who we going with.
Kansas City, I believe, is going to follow suit, and we're going to draft Anton Harrison. I believe he's a very decent offensive lineman. I believe he falls to them. He's rated higher on the overall ranking board. He'll probably be one of the best available players at that moment available. He would be one of our best available, if not the best available at this pick. It was him or DeJuan Jones. I was actually looking at both of them, but Anton Harrison was ranked slightly higher on my board than DeJuan.
I can't believe you didn't pick the Ohio State guy, DeJuan Jones. I can't believe you didn't pick him.
No, this is Kansas City. This is the pros.
How dare you?
I like DeJuan Jones. He's a senior. He's a little bit older. He probably will fit the offense well, but Anton Harrison's a better prospect, and I think that they have the ability to, if they're going to roll a dice, this is not a big roll, but this is one that they're worthy.
I don't think they can go Zay Flowers. I think they already have a Tony, right? And so very redundant. And so, good pick. I love that for Kansas City. Replacing the guy they lost.
That does it for our draft. Just some notable prospects who, again, first round best available players left would have been Brian Branch, safety from Alabama, Trent Simpson, linebacker for Clemson, Darnell Washington, Georgia. Jameer Gibbs is predicted to be a running back that could be low end first round, probably
Dallas
a second
gets
rounder.
Him in the second. If miss out on Bijan.
Yeah, you move up immediately. You make that call. Try my best, Mel Kiper here. You still got Zay Flowers. He's a short guy. That's okay. Good hands, good speed over the middle. Todd. I think he's the all-phone booth team. Put him in space. He can make space. Doing well. Gonna pick him. So, again, that's our 1 month out mock. Let us know what we got right, what we got wrong. Tell us your team and who you would have picked for that team or who you're hoping.
Guys, as well as that win, we should start a podcast.
It's I guarantee you Hendon Hooker is going to get a boost. They're going to be like, did you see the Podfather picked him for the Vikings at 23? We got to go ahead and pick him.
No, it's at 24 in Minnesota. Yeah, 24, right?
No, it's actually 23.
Well, of course, because Miami, but whatever.
Speaking of 23, we have our episode 23 coming up. We got it coming up. Is it LeBron James? Is it Michael Jordan? Who is the man? Who is the myth? Who is the legend? Who is the better 23?
Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to see. We're going to see April 7th. Mark your calendars. It's a live show, April 7th. We're going to hook you up. Now, there might be a question of who is the man for number 23, but we're going to figure out who is the man for their own teams in a segment we call Who's the Man? So we're looking at some teams, and whose team is it? Is it this? There's always an argument. Again, we've had big threes, big twos. So whose team is it? So we're going to start with Brooklyn, right? And we're going to go through several teams. Some of these teams aren't on here. We'll talk about them at the end. Let's go Brooklyn. So Podfather, let's start with you. Whose team is it? Whose team should it be?
Brooklyn. You know what? I'm looking at that. I'm looking at Brooklyn. Is it Jacque Vaughn? Is it just the coach? Is it just the coach at this moment? You got Bridges. You got Cam is still. I mean, he goes from scoring 40 to getting 10 minutes a game. It can't.
It'd be easier to say whose team is this not?
Ben Simmons. And so, where do you go? I think it's got to be Bridges at this point, Brooklyn Bridges, right? And so that's where I'm going. That's whose it is. That's who it should be for the Podfather. That's my answer.
Coach, just talking about Brooklyn's putting you to sleep, man. Do you agree? Is it Brooklyn Bridges?
So my is whose team is it? Has to be Brooklyn Bridges. I mean, it's just too much going on. He efficiently shut down Cam Thomas's career by being so good. Whose team should it be? It should be Ben Simmons if he was healthy. Just check Twitter, popped up. He is now out for the year. He has nerve damage in his back. Um, if he was healthy, his talent, he should be the guy, but he's just not. And that's why I said, whose team should it be? Would be a healthy Ben Simmons. Whose it is? Brooklyn Bridges.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are 3 for 3 to start this off, baby. We are 3 for 3 because whose team is it? It's Brooklyn Bridges, baby.
3 for 3.
Fellas, we do it again and again. Whose team should it be? I'm going to push back. LSU wasn't Ben Simmons' team. Philadelphia wasn't Ben Simmons' team. Boston Celtics knew, hey, it's listen, we could trade up and try and get Ben Simmons. No, forget that. Everybody ran away. So, hey, guess what? It's Brooklyn Bridges. He's been doing some phenomenal work. Again, I would like to see him start alongside Cam Thomas, microwave scorer. But that's okay. So it's Brooklyn Bridges. We are 3 for 3 there. Next, we got the Cleveland Cavaliers. Coach, whose team is it? Whose team should it be?
At the Cleveland Cavaliers, this should be a pretty easy one. Whose team is it? It's Spida. It's Donovan Mitchell's team. Darius Garland puts up a good fight. Whose team should it be? It should be Spider or Garland. I think they kind of share the load. It is what it is. But right now, definitely when the game's on the line, when you're down, when you're up, when you need a bucket, at any point of the game, the ball is always in Spider's hand, unless Spider's sitting, and then that's usually when Garland goes off. So they have a phenomenal team. It's a great setup. They have a lot of wins to look forward to over the next 10 seasons. It'd be kind of hard if we're not 3 for 3 on this one.
Podfather has that look in his eye. I think I know what that look means. Podfather, whose team is it? Whose team should it be?
I think right now you have to go. You have to go Spider's team right now. I think the heartbeat of that team is defense, and I think it could be Mobley easy. But that's just where I'm at.
I have it. It's Spider's team right now, but I think it should be Garland's team. I think Garland has only scratched the surface of his talent. He was amazing talent coming out. I do think that Spida is that guy unless the game is on the line in the playoffs. This playoffs is really going to show us what it means to be the man. And I would rather see the ball in Garland's hand at the end of a game than Spida's.
Okay, so we have 3 different answers on whose it should be. And
we're 3 for 3.
I love Mobley. I think Mobley's the second choice. I don't think Spida's even top 3.
I think Mobley because I think the defensive side of the ball is going to be what carries Cleveland. You know, you got Allen, you got Mobley. They got the towers down low. You can't get in the paint on those guys. I think that's where it's at. I think Mobley's a better talent, but it is Spider's team right now. We are 3 for 3 on that mark.
Absolutely. Next, we have the New York Knicks making noise. So again, I have, and there might be some interesting stuff here. I have right now. Whose team is it? Well, you know, it's the guy who they brought in that started helping a winning, as Podfather say, culture. It's Jalen Brunson's team right now. And I get, Julius Randle just had 50. Yeah, awesome. He had 50 something in a losing effort. Great, awesome. Right now it's Jalen Brunson's team. Whose team should it be? Should be RJ Barrett, but it doesn't look like it's going to be his team. So guess what? We're going to go to the next available star. Should be the next available star's team. It's Knicks. So Podfather, you're shaking your head.
I think right now it's Julius Randle's team. I think they go as he goes. I love what they did with Brunson. I said it a long time ago. Dallas would have been better off with Brunson than where they are right now had they kept him. I love the talent. Nobody would have called it when he came into the NBA. I think so many people missed out on Jalen Brunson, the talent that he really is. It should be Jalen Brunson's team, but that's going to have to wait another year because right now it's Julius Randle's.
Podfather, we're on the same page. I believe it definitely is Julius Randle's team. Who should it be? It definitely should be Jalen Brunson. I think Randle has just been there a while. He's got more of Tibbs' ear. He's the only player I've ever seen on Tibbs' team who doesn't play great defense.
It's crazy.
And still gets all the minutes. That's why when I'm saying whose team is it, it has to be his. He literally has his teammates on other podcasts openly making fun of the fact that he doesn't get yelled at for missing defensive assignments like every other person does. So he gets some favoritism and some things, and my vote is that it's Randall's team, but it should be Brunson's team.
It's funny that RJ Barrett was such a high prospect coming out, and again, he just doesn't look like he's that dude. He needs a new start.
Saw it in Duke that year, right? Zion, RJ, they were together. Cam
Reddish was on that team.
They were all way overrated, except Zion. I mean, Zion's been great when he's been healthy, but I think RJ, Cam, all of those guys were way overrated.
What a flash in the pan!
Yeah, it was crazy, man. It was crazy to watch.
Yeah, it was an interesting
It reminded
coach
me
day
of
year.
Kentucky.
Yeah. That Anthony Davis, Michael
exactly.
Kidd-Gilchrist team, yeah. So we're gonna go to Miami next. Coach, whose team is Miami, and whose team should it be?
I got Miami's team being Jimmy Butler's. Whose team should it be? It should be Bam's or Jimmy's or Coach Spoelstra. I just read an article where they were talking about at the end of the year, what do they expect from the Miami Heat? And they said, what do I expect from Miami Heat? Watching the Miami Heat's like watching Michael Myers coming at you, because Jimmy Butler's coming and he's going to hit you and it's going to hurt and there's going to be blood on the floor at the end of the day. Every single practice, every single game for the rest of the year. Jimmy openly admits he don't even start playing till half the season's over with, and I believe the Miami Heat didn't play till half the season was over with, and now they're starting to get hot. They're starting to make noise, and here they come.
Playoff Jimmy's a real thing. Playoff Jimmy is absolutely a real thing.
He makes coffee.
Just ask Rachel Nichols. Podfather, who do you got as who is this Miami team, and who should it be?
So the team is definitely Udonis Haslem's team. Has been Haslem's team for the last 20 years. He is the heart and soul. I know he's on the bench, player coach, whatever you want to call it. It should be Jimmy's team, but it's Haslem's team.
Listen, I like it. I went a different direction. I said this is Pat Riley's team.
Pat Riley's team, yeah.
It's Pat Riley's team. That's it. Whose team should it be? Whoever Pat Riley says, hey, we're getting this guy next.
I think we already know that, right? I think Spoelstra steps in, takes Riley's job. Somebody comes in to coach the Heat, right? And so
Udonis Haslem becomes the coach. I mean? I love that. I love that.
What if a very Pat Riley move would be to go get Bronny James and then have LeBron James be Udonis Haslem for the next 10 years? That would be a so Pat Riley move if I've ever seen one.
There's no way James accepts that role. I'm gonna play 3 minutes. Get out of here.
No, but the
PEDs won't allow it.
I can see him going to Miami.
The PEDs won't allow it anyway.
Oh,
we heard what Kale said.
Ouch. Okay. Listen. We're writing it down. It's a close match. If you're keeping score at home, let's see if you come up the same score I did. So we got Atlanta next. Whose team is it? Whose team should it be? Podfather, who you got?
Team. I think he's carried them. They've won playoff series with Trey. I think he's an overrated talent in the NBA, but I think it should be Trey's team also. I think he's the best player on the team. That's where I'm at with Atlanta.
Okay, Coach.
I agree. I thought for a moment that somebody else might step up and actually do something. I believe Trey's the leader of that team. And because of that, I think the other players on the team aren't as vocal or can be vocal enough without being silly, like John Collins. It just seems like Trey needs to be that guy. There's nobody else on the team that can handle it. So that's why I voted Trey is and should be.
I had Trey Young as this is whose team it is. For should be, I had Trey with a question mark saying, should it be Trey's team? Or are they really losing that much if they get rid of Trey, bring in some stuff, and it's DeJounte Murray's team? I don't know that they're losing that much.
I just don't know if DeJounte can.
Yeah, I don't think DeJounte's ever won anything on his own, and so it worries me.
I don't know that Trey. I mean, Trey had that one oddball year where the stars aligned and he made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. But what else has he done?
Players get contracts off of 1 year.
Eastern Conference Finals farther. Yeah. That's multiple series wins over.
I've seen players get 5-year max deals off of 1 year, man. Like we let that ride.
Absolutely. So next we have Toronto. So, Coach, what you think, buddy? Whose team is it? Whose team should it be?
I wrote down who cares and who cares. No, honestly, Toronto should be Pascal Siakam. It is Pascal Siakam's team. Whose team should it be? the next guy they go get, because I believe they're going to blow the whole thing up, and it's whoever the next guy is that signs a sucker free agent deal to never win a championship there unless they trade for a random superstar rental for a year. It just, I don't know. I'm not very impressed with this team. I didn't love the moves they made at the deadline. I didn't love the moves they made last offseason. I'm probably not going to love the moves they're going to make this offseason. And if they're not careful, they got a general manager president that's probably becoming overrated in my book. Who went from being phenomenal to being overrated in a matter of 3 to 4 years.
Masai Ujiri, overrated. You heard it here first.
Agree.
I don't know. I don't agree either. Listen, I have whose team is it? I think it's Pascal Siakam's team right now. I think he's the go-to guy. Do I think he should be the guy? No. Honestly, again, I know I'm probably in the minority. I think it should be a Scotty Barnes team. I loved what we saw out of Scotty when he was the actual point guard and team leader last year. I don't think it's so much he's regressed as the way that they're playing. Now, this could be a Nick Nurse problem. It could be they just need a different voice in the head. They need a different direction to go with that. I still like Nick Nurse as a coach. I mean, I would take him 10 out of 10 times over Joey Mazzulla in Boston. But yeah, I think it's Siakam's team. I think it should be Scotty Barnes' team. I think there's a lot of untapped wealth. I think it's similar to at Cleveland. Like, hey, Barnes can defend. He could probably win a Defensive Player of the Year. He could also lead the league in assists if given the chance. Podfather, what do you think?
I think if you think Barnes could win a Defensive Player of the Year, LeBron's never won one of those. That's high praise for Scotty Barnes. Listen, I think the problem in Toronto, I agree with Coach. I mean, Toronto's all over the map. They're crazy right now. You know what the problem is in Toronto is it's still Kyle Lowry's team. Okay, that's the problem in Toronto is they don't have a leader in Toronto. I think it should be Scotty Barnes, but they have a Kyle Lowry problem, and it's that nobody ever took the reins from that. And so that's where I'm at on the Toronto.
Okay, not bad at all. Yeah, going from Toronto to Chicago. So Podfather, let's stick around with you. So whose team is Chicago? Because they got a lot of stars, a lot of wealth of talent on that team. And
I think Chicago is probably. I think it's got to be DeMar's team. I think he's got to be the leader in the locker room. When you look at it, like I think more people are like Levine. Whose team should it be? Which star in Chicago do you trust? Right? Outside of the 30-some-year-old DeMar. And so I would love it to be Patrick Williams' team. Like, that guy excites me a little bit, but, he hasn't had the growth there. And so, I don't know. I think Chicago, whose team should it be? Whoever they get this offseason is whose team it's going to be because they got to bring in a star. So.
Okay, Coach, what do you think?
I'm going to start off with whose team should it be because it's kind of a different one. If everything and all the stars were aligned and Lonzo Ball was healthy, I believe it should be his team. He has the ability to control the team, to put it on a spindle when they were doing electric things. Caruso, Lonzo, everybody on the court, they were actually winning a lot of games. Lonzo gets hurt. Caruso gets hurt. This team takes a turn. But whose team is it? It would be the closest player to Jordan, DeMar DeRozan. That's the type of style he plays. He hits mid-range, doesn't really do much else. So I would say DeMar DeRozan is whose team it is. But, that's what happens when your superstars quit instead of actually trying to rebuild a team. They've been in shambles since Jordan left. Chicago, I feel bad for them. They got wronged by that guy. He quit in the middle of his career. He quit before his career ended just because he didn't get his way. He's a baby. That's what happens, though, when you have gambling problems and you allegedly have your family members killed by mafia members. You quit and stuff like that. So I understand. He was a bad guy. He hit his teammates. He's, probably.
Let's save it for 23. Okay, I don't mind the snipes now and then. Let's save it for 23. So here's the problem.
Listen, and so I'm going to say a name. Frank's not going to recognize it.
Actually, it's Teach's turn.
Yeah, I'm going to say a name. Frank's not going to recognize it because it's the kind of NBA fan we're talking to right now. So, but
TikTokers would call him casual.
Casual, definitely casual. Okay. But you did watch them. You did watch the Michael Jordan special. So Jerry Krause.
Yes.
Who's Jerry Krause?
Maybe the greatest GM of that era.
Not as long as Jerry
Come
West
on,
was
man,
around.
let's be real.
I don't know. In that era in the 90s, he won 6 championships with the team he assembled. Thank God he put the people together that he did, because without Phil Jackson's triangle and the awesome draft pick of a Scottie Pippen, Jordan would have just been another nobody.
This is what we have to. This is what we're looking forward to. Not next week, but the
It's
following
gonna be
week, guys.
so good.
Yes, I love
so
it.
good.
I had DeRozan. It's
Definitely.
DeRozan's team. Whose team should it be? I have Anthony Davis. Should be
I
Anthony
love
Davis's
that.
team.
I love that.
I like that too. That's good.
Let's see Zach LaVine and other pieces go to LA. Let's see Anthony Davis go home to Chicago. Indiana. I think this is a pretty easy one. I think it's a pretty easy one. I have it's Halliburton's team. I think it should be Halliburton's team. Maybe Benny Mathurin, depending on his growth, but I think that's where they're at. Coach, you're nodding, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. If it's Tyrese, it should be Tyrese. If it's not Tyrese, it should be Benedict's team. It is what it is. He's that type of special player. He's got the attitude, the one. Again, with the reason why I like Trae Young in Atlanta is the same reason why I would like Benedict if it wasn't Tyrese, because of his mouth, of his tenacity for the game. I like who he is. He is a good guy.
Podfather, go ahead.
Yeah,
Tell us
I
why
think
we're
it's
wrong.
definitely Halliburton's team. It should be Sabonis's team. It should be Miles Turner's team. But
Do you think they're better than Halliburton?
I do. I think overall, I think Sabonis is a better NBA player than Halliburton. I think he's going to mean more to winning than Halliburton.
Casual.
I also
No, that's not casual. That's analytics would agree with you. Actually,
because it's true. It passes the eye test. Also, I think Miles Turner is super underrated in Indiana. I think the way they utilize him is if they just allowed the guy to play basketball, they taught him stop throwing up stupid 3-pointers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think there's so much to it. But anyways, I think it should be Sabonis. That was a bad move by Indiana by letting them go, and so that's where I'm at. But they'll not be good. They'll always stay where they're at with Halliburton leading that team, and that's why I say that.
I think it was a great Halliburton Sabonis trade. Was great. It was probably win-win. I would give more favor to Indiana. I think Indiana won that trade, but Orlando. I'm pretty sure we're going to go 3 for 3. Yeah. Whose team is it? Whose team should it be? We all know, right?
Pablo.
Mickey
Pablo,
Mouse.
the generation.
Oh yeah, no, Paulo Banchero,
Yeah,
Podfather.
Paulo, but man, Bol excites me.
Is he Italian, Coach? I mean, you'd let us know. Paolo Banchero, is that Italian?
No,
It's like
he's
Cuban or
Hispanic.
something, right?
But I tell you what, Duke's doing some damage now, man. Duke's putting some players out there. You know, I don't see UNC with the same type of setup lately. Over the last 15 years, Duke players are starting to take over the league.
They're not doing damage in the tournament.
UNC has the greatest basketball player ever came out of UNC, and I'm not talking Vince Carter.
Bron didn't go to college.
It's not Joseph Forte. That's for darn sure. Thanks a lot, Red Auerbach. Thank you very much, Charlotte. Next place is Charlotte. Whose team is it? Whose team should it be? Again, I think we're going to be 3 for 3 here.
Yeah,
LaMelo.
Mello. I even
again,
because Carmelo won't come back. I just put Mello. We're just going to take Law off of it. You just give Mello.
But I had a question mark for whose team should it be? Should it be LaMelo? I don't know. Maybe
Bridges.
Maybe. Definitely not Bridges.
Wrong bridge there. That bridge is burned. So
that bridge is gone.
You know whose team is the worst owner in the history of the NBA.
You know,
Michael
so
Jordan.
Bridge. So we have Brooklyn
not.
Bridges,
Jeez.
and then we have the London Bridge, which fell down. And so, really, really good bridges. Different scenarios. Listen, Mike tried his best. Charlotte's a small market. It is what it is, and so we keep it moving from there.
If that's his best, that's horrible.
Well, let it.
Okay,
let it be horrible.
Speaking of horrible, let's go to Detroit. Watch your mouth. Don't you speak ill of Larry Bird on this pod. We'll start bringing up Karl Malone.
No.
Don't you do that. Don't make me do that to you. Not today. Not on the Deion Sanders numbered podcast.
Talk about Karl Malone.
This is the Kevin Garnett number, Minnesota, not Boston. Okay, 21. Detroit, who we got? Whose team is it? Whose team should it be? I'm actually going to go Coach here first because Coach has love for a player. I think he's going to say. Go ahead, Coach.
So I had to put whose team is it? It has to be Jaden Ivey's. He's played well. He's done. He's. I've watched him recently. He's got some tenacity. He's got some basketball IQ. He's got some love for the game.
Who's got some dog in him? A coachism? A Frankism?
Yeah. So whose team should it be? James Wiseman. I still have his rookie cards. I'm really trying to comp that. I'm a little bit down now on my stock of them. I really need him to come back. I figure I'm just going to put it out in the ether until it happens. He's played phenomenal his last 7 games. I think he's averaging 17 and 10 over his last 10 games. See what happens when you play the guy? That's why I keep saying Golden State. It's a horrible move, Golden State.
Should we just exit the pod right now?
Let's
Podfather.
No, let's move on.
You want to go get some nuggets?
I like nuggets. I like nuggets.
I cannot believe he's selling this Wiseman thing. How many games they win during that stretch?
And should be Cade Cunningham. Okay.
I think it right now it's Cade's team. I think it should be Ivy's team. I like Ivy at the end of games. I really, really love the possibility of them getting the 2 pick, but that's for another pod. Let's head on to Memphis. We're walking in Memphis, Mark Cohen. We are walking in Memphis. Whose team is it? Whose team should it be? Podfather?
Hey, listen, I'm coming out guns blazing. It's going to be Ja Morant and Ja Morant. Listen, here's the problem. Kyrie Irving gets trashed for putting a link on Twitter. This guy's pumping iron at the
deservedly so.
Pumping iron at the strip club and gets 8 games and I don't understand it, man. So it is Ja Morant's team. Whose team should it be? It should be Adam Silver's team right now. And there should be things going on with the Memphis Grizzlies and their culture and their superstar. That's the way I feel.
I mean, if you listened to our last episode, and if you didn't, go check it out, what we said. Again, it was a travesty. Should have never happened. Shouldn't happen. He should have got the same type of results as Kyrie, if not worse. I mean, to me, this was just as bad, if not worse. Should have got the 50 games. It's Ja. Who should it be? Should be Desmond Bane. You don't hear about Bane getting in trouble. Should be Desmond Bane.
I have whose team is it? It's Ja's, and I definitely agree with Teach. Desmond Bane is by far the guy who just shows up, and he shows up. And honestly, they have almost a 70% winning percentage when Ja Morant's not on the court over the past 2 years. It is not a small sample size. We're over 40 games in that sample size. They have a higher winning percentage without Ja on the court than they do with. And it's because Desmond Bane seems to step up every single time. He's built like the strongest hamster you've ever seen in your life. He's a tiny guy with really big arms, and he just gets the job done. I like the guy. He don't need to run his mouth like everybody else. He actually just shows up to work and does his thing. I believe Jaren Jackson Jr. could be a pick for this, but definitely Desmond Bane seems to be the leader of the situation, especially when Ja's out there gun clacking.
I think it's definitely, if we have to look in the roster right now, I think it's got to be Jaren Jackson. He's going to be the defensive player of the year in the NBA. Defense is the anchor of that team. I think he's a way better pick than Desmond Bane, although I understand the Desmond Bane pick. It can't be Ja. It shouldn't be Ja. If the coach allows it to be Ja, that's bad culture. If the NBA allows it to be Ja. Kyrie lost his Nike deal over a Twitter thing. Ja hasn't lost. What is going on? What are we telling?
They put a pause on the shoot. They put a pause on the shoe deal, right? The extension.
So they put a pause, but they didn't.
Kyrie didn't get a pause.
Absolutely,
Kyrie didn't get a pause. You know what I mean? And like I'm sitting here,
right? Well, I think this is, yeah. And I'm not defending Ja. I'm not defending Ja. I think this is accumulation of other stuff that has been done. Again, he before this, Ja had a decent reputation. So I think they're putting that in account. Now, should that matter for anything? No, not at all. I will say one thing defending Bane. Bane is a threat to be a 50, 40, 90 guy every single year. And I'm not talking 50, 40, 90 with like 8 points. Like a 50, 40, 90 guy with 20, 25, 27 points per game. So it's not nothing. Let's head on to Sacramento. Whose team is it? Whose team should it be? Podfather, you going with
No, I'm
Sabonis
going
here?
De'Aaron Fox here. He's the better player in Sacramento. That's who it is. That's who it should be. Sacramento, easy.
Coach?
Yeah, I got Fox, whose team is it should be and whose team is it is. He stepped up. It really seems like when they've actually got some decent players around him that you can actually see the evolution of what he does. I love his attitude. I love his mantra. Malik Monk complements him so well. They work together so
It's hard to
well.
say that, right? It's hard to say that.
It hurts. It hurts to say it, but it's
It
so
is true.
true. And then Sabonis is a great player for him. I believe that the Halliburton trade for Sabonis was a very intelligent move. Halliburton needs the ball in his hands. Sabonis does not to do all the magic that he does. He can still play off ball and on ball. He can handle both ways. I think he fits more of a team system than Tyrese does, and that's why I believe that Fox is Fox.
I don't agree with a lot of the stuff you're saying. I think Halliburton showed he could play off ball. Get out of here with this stuff. I think it's a lot of words.
I just think Sabonis is better at it.
I think Sabonis doesn't have to have the ball as much.
Well,
impact
I don't think any 7-footer does.
That's
right?
what I agree with. But I think right. Well, yeah. I think what we haven't said, and I do have De'Aaron and De'Aaron, so 3 for 3 again, baby. But I have it as Mike Brown was really the difference maker. So, I think Kevin Huerter, along with Malik Monk and Mike Brown, bringing some of that Golden
Mike
State
Brown,
magic.
the coach that LeBron got fired? Mike Brown? That guy?
That'd be the one.
I didn't know who you were talking about. I know there's a couple.
I think that's Mike Brown. Golden State. So let's head to Phoenix. Whose team is it? Whose team should it be? Podfather.
It's now Durant's team. No, it's definitely Devin Booker's team. I think it should be Devin Booker's team. I love that Durant is the kind of superstar that can come in there and play like that. Chris Paul also, kudos to him for taking a backseat to Devin Booker. But yeah, it's Devin Booker.
All right, go ahead, Coach.
I have it as being Devin Booker's team. I have it as it should be Durant's team. I don't believe Devin Booker can be the type of guy that can lead a team to a finals victory. I think they went down this road. They came up short. I think they're going to keep coming down this road and keep coming up short unless Kevin Durant truly takes the foothold that he needs to take. Simple as this. If Kevin Durant doesn't play, they don't make it past the first round series. And
is it a little Miami, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, right? Where it's, hey, right now Booker's the man, but it should be Durant. I have that. Whose team is it? It's Kevin Durant's team because when Kevin Durant shows up, it immediately becomes his team just through his play style. Whose team should it be? Should be Devin Booker. I don't know if he's that dude though. I don't.
I don't think he is.
Kevin Durant showed up in Golden State. Whose team was it?
Steph.
LeBron showed up in Miami. Whose team was it?
Man, I think it was Wade's team at first, and then I think once they transitioned, it was LeBron James.
Team. Okay.
I think his popularity in terms of who is the alpha male running the engine.
Wade always admitted the moment that they stopped fighting for whose team it was and he gave it to LeBron is when they really took a hold of it because Wade wanted to fight for that position. So it was him not voluntarily giving it up, but it always should have been LeBron's.
And Booker doesn't have the resume Steph does. I mean, that was never going to be Kevin Durant's team.
Kevin Durant is that player who's like, I don't care where I'm at.
Now he probably is.
Let me do what I do. You can have the rest of it. Just let me do what I do.
Fits every offense.
I mean, he can literally, you can put him in any team in the NBA, and he'll Kevin Durant the team. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is.
Princeton offense.
Yeah.
He goes.
Yeah, that's Kevin Durant, man. I love
that. Next team is the Los Angeles Clippers. So, Coach, whose team is it? Whose team should it be?
Whose team is it? Is it Kawhi Leonard's team? I believe that is him. He's his play lately has been phenomenal. Last couple games, he's done really well. I've really enjoyed
Been
watching
amazing.
him play. I love that they put like the Lou Dort torture thing, and he just goes 13 for 15 and just obliterates him. And that's so Kawhi too. And, he didn't even mutter one word about it. He was like, "Oh, I didn't even know they said that. That's interesting." Whose team should it be? Russell Westbrook, because I hate the Clippers. I gotta hate the Clippers right now, and any team that Russell Westbrook's on just loses apparently. So let it be Russell Westbrook team. I think this is similar to my Wiseman. It's not real, but you know what? It works for me.
I love the shadiness that you add to this, but you're losing so much credibility. If I didn't know you were joking, if I was a first time listener, viewer, I would be
just
lighting
turn it
you up
off,
right
yeah.
now. But I know it's all. Yeah, that's Podfather. Who do you think? Whose team is it? Whose team should it be?
Yeah, so anywhere Doc Rivers is at, it's his team, right? And so I think the team is Doc Rivers' team. No,
Ty Lue.
he's
in
kidding.
Philly.
So, yeah,
Oh,
it's definitely Kawhi Leonard's team.
I worry about you.
It's
I worry
definitely
about
Kawhi.
you.
I was pulling a Frankism. Nobody got it. So it's definitely
worried.
Kawhi Leonard's.
It's Jordan Anderson's team. It's definitely Jordan Anderson.
It's definitely Kawhi Leonard's team. I really think that, Kawhi's missed significantly more time than Paul George. Paul George is an alpha. I think it should be Paul George's team. He's younger. Is he younger? I don't know. But he seems younger. Kawhi's got a lot of problems. So that's where I'm at.
Whose team should it be? It should absolutely be Kawhi's team. Whose team is it? Steve Ballmer's team. I still don't think – I don't look at the Clippers and go, yeah, that's Kawhi. I go, Steve Ballmer's sitting there doing stupid things.
Every day in the sideline, yeah. He's the opposite of Mark Cuban.
Yeah, Mark Cuban will just come on the court and curse you out and pay the fine. Steve Ballmer's doing it's his that really I hope that it becomes Kawhi's team, and I hope because the NBA is better when he is good.
If it becomes Kawhi's team, if it really solidifies, becomes Kawhi's team. I love that Paul George is out for a couple of weeks. FYI, I think we've talked about that numerous occasions. Like, can they stay healthy? They can't. Neither can LeBron right now. But what I'm saying is, like, if it becomes Kawhi's team and Paul George comes back healthy, they're going to be a problem in the playoffs.
Next, let's go to Dallas. Whose team is it? Whose team should it be? Coach, you go right ahead because it's going to be whose team is it? It's Kyrie's team. Whose team should it be? Should be Kyrie's team. It shouldn't be Luka. Go ahead, Coach.
Thanks for the alley-oop. This is definitely Luka's team. It's by far Luka's team. Whose team should it be? It should be the better player on the team. That's Kyrie Irving. His record on the team without Luka is getting better now. We're getting more sample size because Luka keeps getting
1-1.
No, he's like 3-1 now, and Luka's like 0-3
I don't think so.
without him.
I don't think Kyrie is 3-1 because I don't know that Dallas has won 3 games since he showed up.
They have. They were all games that Luka didn't play.
Crazy.
I think you're wrong here. I think it's Luka and Luka. I'm not going to disagree about Kyrie just because you're trolling. And you know what? Kyrie has hit the bigger shot in a bigger moment. So whose team is it? If it gets him to a title, sure, awesome. It should be Kyrie's team. Whose team should it be? It should definitely be Luka. But I think, it being his team, it has been his team for a while. The next 7 years, he's in year, I think, 5 of his NBA career, his historic NBA career. So I think it's going to be his team. I think it's fine.
Has anybody hit a bigger shot in the NBA that's active right now than Kyrie Irving?
Oh, active right now? No.
In a finals game, I guess. I would say Kawhi maybe in a conference game, but finals, it has to be Kyrie.
if you're talking all
Kevin
time.
Kevin Durant step in 3 against
that Ray
Allen.
Cavs. The Ray Allen shot,
that was there. Yeah, that was right. Okay, well, he's not active, so I would say
right.
active.
You're shaping the question active. Like, hey, has anybody hit a bigger shot on a Tuesday night of an NBA Finals in which the games went 7?
In 2000,
you're pulling a Broussard right now.
32 active teams that could have hit shots.
In 2016, has there ever been a bigger shot in the NBA Finals? Yeah.
No. Who you got, Podfather?
Definitely Luka's team. It should be Their return to winning happened when Maxi Kleba came back. Maxi Kleba hit the dagger against the Lakers, the best team in the NBA. Right now, it should be Maxi Kleba's team.
I just love the way you're saying it. It's got some Mel Brooks vibes. Maxi Kleba. It's got Billy Crystal. Maxi Kleba. Have you ever seen a pair of shoes like Maxi Kleba? He keeps them clean. He jumps shots.
As long as Luka doesn't get fed up in Dallas, it'll be Luka's team for the next 10 years. It's easy.
I think he's got a lot of growing to do too. I think there's got to be a lot of. I think this year he stepped up his offseason conditioning, looked a lot better coming in. I think there has to be sustained accountability. I do think there's the pieces that they need, but yeah, I don't hate it.
I think pieces, and I don't know if they have the right coach.
Yeah,
Jason Kidd is great.
Jason Kidd is a great offensive coach, but again, they have this defensive problem. I thought they had it figured out at the beginning of the season. I get they made some trades, but the trades shouldn't have impacted that. I think they have a Reggie Bullock,
they have a Bullock problem.
That he seems to only show up every now and then.
You then shipped away Dorian Finney-Smith, who's a great 3-and-D guy. That matters because he's a wing defender. And so, yeah, they got some problems. They got some holes, but they'll figure it out.
So next we have, again, Minnesota, my favorite punching bag. Minnesota, whose team is it? Whose team should it be?
It's Cat's team right now. It should be Ant's team, 100%.
I agree 100%. That's exactly what I have. It's Cat's team because he comes back. He takes all the interviews. He's the main guy. It's the headline that I read all over ESPN. Him coming back. He's coming back. Okay, he's back. He wins. Who's the interview all about? Cat. Who had a better game?
Yep.
Ant-Man. They don't want to hear from him. It just is what it is. And until they get rid of him, Dallas or Minnesota's going to be.
Yeah,
who
and this
Minnesota
is last year in Minnesota. We all know it. The pictures, the paintings on the wall.
We are 3 for 3 again,
guys.
It's Cat's team. It should definitely be Ant's team. And Anthony Edwards was great.
Absolutely, him and Juan Herman Gomez.
Bo Cruz. So we got OKC, the Thunder. Whose team is it? Whose team should it be?
SGA.
SGA and Victor Wembanyama is who it should be later on next year. They've been sucking for Victor. It didn't
victoryless for Victor.
It didn't work because SGA has become like that dude. SGA to me, all of a sudden this year to me, SGA is replacing Damian Lillard as that crazy point guard who can win you any game at any time. SGA is slowly creeping up there with like the top point guards in the league. And I'm talking about like we got some iconic point guards right now.
Is he a point guard?
No. Listen, we can't talk about
ball handler.
We cannot talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder without talk.
Can I make my pick?
Yes, make your pick first.
Whose team is it? SGA. Whose team should it be? Josh.
Oh, I love that.
I think it should be Giddey's team. I think Giddey can command the offense better. I think SGA is not an alpha. He's not a 1. I think he is a beta. I think he's a number 2. I think he's a B. When it comes to a finals team, can he win you the championship? No. Do I think Giddey can? Yeah, I do think Giddey can. Irrational confidence. I love what he does.
So,
go ahead, Popfather.
We know what the game is tonight. We're talking on Friday. It is of March 24th, right? It is the 24th of March, Friday. What game is tonight?
Is that OKC Lakers?
OKC Lakers. Right now, the Lakers are projected. The Vegas odds are -5 with D'Lo maybe playing. Okay, if I gotta say this, man, if Anthony Davis doesn't go out and score 35 and get 20 boards on the OKC Thunder tonight, and we don't win decisively in OKC, do you know we're a half game out of 6 right now? A half game out of 6.
Such a tight race in the West.
We've been balancing this rope for like 7 games. This
it should have been shut.
We should have played
but
Houston.
We lost to Houston. We lost to OKC. Those are 2 losses.
We deserved that Dallas because of that was the basketball gods punishing us.
We're
because
winning
of
in
Houston.
Dallas. Anthony Davis goes underneath the screen, tries to drop down and play the paint, and misses on Maxi Kleber, who hits the 3-pointer. We should have beat OKC the first game out of the All-Star break. We should have beat the Houston Rockets, all 3 winnable games. Now, I'm not saying we should have a perfect record, but what I'm saying, all 3 winnable games. And then we beat teams that I didn't know we were going to beat, like Golden State. You know what I'm saying? If we lose tonight to the OKC Thunder, and then our next 2 games are Chicago. So we're at home, then we're at Chicago. So we have OKC, Chicago, and Chicago. 3 very winnable games. A 3-game win streak is the difference between solidifying your playoff spot or playing in the play-in. And listen, I don't mind the play-in. I think we'll do fine in the play-in, but there's always that chance. We need the 6th seed. This is crazy. We have to win tonight.
Without a maxi 3-pointer and a stupid play from Anthony Davis not playing against Houston, we're fighting for the 4 seed.
Right now, correct.
Oh yeah, it's that different. It's that different of a landscape. We're looking at Phoenix going, you know what? We might be able to catch you without Kevin Durant.
It's crazy.
And like Coach likes to say, and if my aunt were born with wheels, she'd be a bicycle. She'd be a bicycle. Listen, let's go to Utah. Utah, whose team is it? Whose team should it be? Coach?
Lori. Markkanen's done his job this year. They played great. They've done well with what they have. I could tell that they're in the suck it mode for Victor or whatever.
Winless for Wembanyama.
Winless for Wembanyama.
Victoryless for Victor.
Failure
for the Frenchman.
They're going for Victor. And because they're going for Victor, they are who they are. But Lori has been phenomenal this year. This team, who should it be right now, is Lori's team right now.
I don't agree.
Maybe Clarkson's been hurt. There's a couple things that could have happened, but Lori's been that guy. He's the lone all-star on that team, and it should be him.
Podfather, same thing?
Yeah, it's definitely Lori's team right now. It should be Colin Sexton's team. If they want to be a winning franchise, it needs to be Colin Sexton's team.
That might be the hottest take I've heard since last time Coach texted me. That's wild. Okay. I also said it's Lori's team. Whose team should it be? Will Hardy and Danny Ainge. Just let them do whatever they want to do, because you know what? Last summer they completely swiped everything from Minnesota. They look really good. I trust Will Hardy and Danny Ainge. Pelicans, man, this is an interesting one. It's Zion and Zion, but I feel the least comfortable I've ever felt about anything for the Pelicans. Whose team is it? It's still Zion's team. Everything revolves around him. It revolves around his timeline. Whose team should it be? If he just get healthy, if he just stay healthy, it's Zion's team.
I think right now, I think it's Brandon Ingram's team. I don't think Zion's been there enough. It should definitely be Zion's team. And it may even be CJ McCollum's team. He's the veteran leadership there. It should definitely be Zion's team.
Yeah, we're kind of in the same boat of whose team it should be. It all should be Zion's team, but I get Brandon Ingram's been hurt too much too. They both have been MIA, and because of that, that's why I put CJ. I would have given it to Brandon Ingram, but I feel like he's just missed too many games, and the floor kind of runs through CJ. When the couple times that I have watched games that they've played and they come back, it's always powered by CJ. CJ goes off, something always happens. It always seems to be revolved around him. He's the veteran leadership on the court. It's not supposed to be CJ. He's supposed to be an auxiliary piece, and this is why they're losing, because they can't keep people healthy. Whose team could it be? Jose Alvarado? I don't know. But no, honestly, it's CJ.
Listen, we are fans of Jose A.
Hey, we are 3 for 3 on Jose. We keep it. We keep it Jose Alvarado. That means all the time. Yes.
That's Alvarado. So we got Houston next. Whose team is it? Whose team should it be? Coach, why don't you go ahead and bat lead off for us?
Jalen. It just is what it is. He's the guy. I believe he's going to be the guy. I think he's got the goods. Problem is they're so dysfunctional right now. I don't know what they're doing or what they're thinking. The coaching's horrible. Other NBA players are making fun of them because of the style that they're playing, so they'll never win with that style. Older players are coming out talking trash about it, saying that they're just teaching these young guys how to lose. They're not even teaching them how to be good players. They need to get some leadership in there. The way they practice, the way they play, the way they attack, what they say on the court. It's just a dysfunctional bomb. This is by far, to me, the worst franchise in the NBA, and I don't see it ending anytime soon.
Worse than the Hornets.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
The Hornets have a legitimate guy that can be a perennial all-star.
Okay, so you're taking Melo over Jalen.
Yes.
Okay, Podfather. Whose team is it? Whose team should it be?
I think right now there's not a leader on the team. I think that's the problem. They're all young. I think Eric Gordon was that guy. I think it should be Smith's team. I think Jabari is going to be the guy. I think if they want to do something, if they want to change to a winning culture, it needs to be Smith Jr. Yeah, Houston's got a lot of problems.
Similar to that Cleveland team with Mobley. Hey, who should be the guy? For whose team is it? It's Jalen Green's team. I put for who should it be? Not Jalen Green. Yeah. That's what I put on my paper because I don't think he should be the guy. Well, I think he's a secondary.
I think
piece.
Everybody knew they reached for him. Where'd they take him at 4? Right. It was a really.
I think it was
a really
3.
weak draft class. I can't remember. It was LaMelo's class, right?
No, I don't think it was. I think it was a year after. I think it was a decent draft class. I think it was I think this was the Mobley class.
Yeah.
I think it was Mobley. It was Scotty Barnes, Mobley, Cade.
We drafted that 10 episodes ago.
I think we did. It might have been on the Dan Marino episode 13.
Could have been.
Could have been. You know, it wasn't on this episode. It's not the Paul O'Neill episode today, 21. But and the last one, again, the Los Angeles Lakers. Fellas, I'm going to scoot back and let you guys go ahead. Whose team is it? Whose team should it be?
Okay, I'll go first. I believe whose team is it? It's definitely LeBron's team. And I think that's the problem with this team. LeBron's 147 years old. And I believe that AD...
Dog years?
It should have been AD's team. But I believe that's the whole problem. AD just can't consistently step up to take the team over. I think this team was built that way. LeBron's openly, publicly stated the situation that he wants it to be AD's team. But it seems like every time the mantle is there to be grabbed, it just seems like he does it for 2 or 3 games, and he doesn't for 2 or 3 games, and that's the problem. Superstars, not just great players. Legendary players, they do it every day. It's an everyday thing. It's almost boring. The Giannis's, the LeBrons, the Jordans, the Kobe's. It's every single night. And that's the problem with AD. He can't do it every night. And he's under extreme scrutiny from Laker media and everything because of the situation. He just seems like maybe he was meant to be more in a New Orleans type of market. Maybe the big markets don't age well with him. He needs to go to a different type of market to be able to be super successful and raise and go to higher places.
Okay, Podfather, same thing.
No, I think it is LeBron's team, and it should stay LeBron's team. I think the mantle hasn't passed yet. I think it will. I think we've got another year. And in all actuality, I don't know that it can be AD's team. I don't know if he has that alpha leader type mentality, killer mentality. But that's something LeBron always lacked too. I mean, you can see it Game 7s. We've seen it in the Dallas Mavericks series. He didn't have the killer mentality, and so
LeBron has the most clutch points in the fourth quarter or overtime in a game that is under 5 points with under a minute left, either in the fourth quarter or no. He's the most clutch points ever. Ever. Not second, not third, not behind Michael Jordan. He's got the most clutch points ever in the history of the NBA when you count under 2 minutes with the game within 5 points.
Yeah, and so anyways, 20 years, playoffs, whatever. We can talk about what we want to talk about. I mean, the longevity argument is the only thing that there is for LeBron James, and I wasn't even talking about that like that. And so, way to come.
Kobe played the same amount of years, and he beat Kobe. So if you talk about legendary and what that is, it is what it is.
Way to come to.
Call it what you want, Kobe Bryant.
Way to come to his defense.
Second place.
First of all, Anybody that has 1 quarter left to win a basketball game, any NBA fan ever, is not going to take LeBron over Kobe. Much less Michael Jordan. Let's get real, okay? For 1 quarter. That's just the most ridiculous conversation ever. And I'll put that out there for the whole nation to see if we have to. We'll do a poll on it. 1 quarter left to play. The game is tied going into the 4th. You got one player to take. Who are you going to take, Michael, Kobe, or LeBron? LeBron finishes 3rd in every one of those conversations. It's not even close.
You just said he didn't have a killer instinct. I was combating that comment, saying he has the most clutch points in the history of the NBA. It's kind of hard not to have a killer instinct when you have the most in the history of the NBA. I don't know how you do things, but that is number 1 all-time point scored in clutch time is LeBron James. Nobody else.
John Stockton
and he passed Kobe up 2 years ago. In year 18, he had more points than Kobe Bryant.
You mean after Kobe was dead? Like that's how long it took him to do it? Yeah, let's get out of here, man. Come on. And so anyway,
no, year 18 of the NBA versus year 20. He passed him up in year 18.
For the record, I have that it's LeBron James' team, and it should be Anthony Davis's team. But if it's not his team by now,
it's not.
I don't know that it ever will be.
Yeah,
you both are right. It might be small. He needs to be in a small market. He needs to be somewhere else.
I think he thrives in Chicago.
I think it's Chicago going home, getting away, going to the East could be a good thing for him. I just briefly, I know this is a long episode. That's okay. You guys love it. You love listening to us. Just some of the places we didn't talk about. Celtics, it's clearly Tatum's team, right?
It can't be Jalen's now.
Washington. I mean, if he gets all NBA, it'll still be JB and JT because he's not turning down 5 years and $290 million. That's a guarantee. Washington, it's Beal, but I'm doing this face with it.
It has to be
right now until he gets traded this offseason.
They love Carl out there, Carl Kuzma.
He's gonna look good when he goes to New York when the Knicks overpay him. Philly, it's Embiid
for sure.
Yeah,
Milwaukee.
You mean
the
MVP? Embiid?
Yeah.
It might be MVP Embiid.
MVP Embiid
for sure.
It might be Embiid.
Yes.
Embiid.
Yes.
Portland, Lillard.
For sure.
Denver, Jokic.
Yeah, whatever.
Golden State, Curry.
For sure.
And we all know.
This is so hard. Why was it so hard to give Jokic a team? I don't understand.
I was waiting for it could be Michael Porter Jr. Could be Michael Porter Jr. I knew it. It was hard for you to say.
Jamal Murray might be more if you're going to do it like that.
Because they traded Bol. They traded Bol.
And I am
they would have kept him.
I am a huge Jamal Murray fan.
And the last one, San Antonio. We all know whose team it is.
Yeah, Pops.
Yeah, it's Pop. It's Pop's team.
It's been Pops.
It will be Pops.
Duncan was.
It's going to be Pops
Duncan
for a while.
was there, Ginobili, a guy named Tony Parker, and this guy named Kawhi Leonard. It was still Pop's team.
Still wasn't their team. Still Pop's team.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and talk about the show winner. I don't know if you guys just have a hatred for each other's takes. So today's show winner was, again, based on positive things you said about your guy, LeBron James or Michael Jordan, versus negative things about the other guy. And you guys will not believe it. You tied at 21 each. Episode 21. So we got a tiebreaker. Wow. I thought, because we had a tiebreaker before, I didn't have anything up my sleeve.
Jordan
so today's
sucks.
tiebreaker. No, sorry. We've already ended that. Tiebreaker. We did a mock for this NFL draft. So here's the question. Okay, say the answer. Who was the first pick in last year's NFL draft?
Last year's NFL draft. The first pick of.
Did we do the mock for last year's NFL?
No,
we did a mock, but I don't know that you guys are going to get it. I will give hints.
All right, give me a hint.
The first pick went to Jacksonville.
Oh yeah, it wasn't. It was their defensive line. It was the linebacker, the defensive end. What's his name? I can't remember his name though.
It was a defensive end.
And it was supposed to be Aiden
his initials are TW.
Nope.
It's not TW.
Okay, so nobody gets the. That's okay. We're gonna go to sudden death. Trayvon
Walker. That was it. Yeah.
Trayvon Walker. So the double secret elimination is going to be how many artifacts you have in your background. And I'm counting Jordan as one, and I think Coach LaFada has 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I'm not counting the little piece that you keep bringing up. With 4 pieces of flair, Coach LaFada wins the episode.
That's not true, though. That's not true.
Can we rename this to Deion Sanders 1, 2? We keep saying other names.
That's not true.
We see it on the screen.
21 should be Deion.
I have my pick.
It's what we see on the screen right now.
I have Jordan.
I appreciate that.
I have the
Yes.
remote, and I have the hold on, and I have the holder for the remote.
I appreciate that. That has nothing to do with.
Sorry,
that's non-sports related. We're giving.
You can see.
We'll accept any and all appeals later.
You can
not
see
today.
the back of
Sorry,
my chair.
buddy.
You can't see Frank's. You can see mine.
No, sorry, Coach. Coach wins the episode. Episode 21 is his. That's right. The Dominique Wilkins episode is his. The Roger Clemens episode is his. Congratulations. The LaDainian Tomlinson episode is his.
21 definitely has to go to Tim Duncan. He's the best 21 ever, right?
It's got to be. Oh, Roberto Clemente.
Deion Sanders was really
unless you're going blackjack.
It's got to be
blackjack, like 21, best blackjack ever, best ever.
Could
more
be.
Importantly to me, drinking age was
21.
Like a very good thing. growing up.
Now 22 coming up next week. Is it the Emmitt Smith episode?
We'll see. We'll see. It could be. 22 is definitely fun because you know what time it is, fellas. It's our mailbag episode.
Yes,
that's right.
It's the favorite episodes. My favorite.
We call it the Ask 3 episode. This is the Ask 3 episode. You can ask 3 anything. So we are going to go ahead and do that. Make sure you submit your questions to 3for3pod@gmail.com. Make sure you go ahead and DM us. You hit us up on Instagram. Hit us up on the gram. Follow our TikToks. Ask comments. Please let us know what we're doing. Go ahead. We're going to have tons of questions. We're going to cover baseball. We already have some baseball questions about, hey, who's the best Major League ball player right now? Has the WBC saved baseball? We have football questions. We have possible trades for the NFL draft, and basketball. We have who is going to win the title this year. So a couple things to think about. Again, make sure you follow us on all our socials. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you want to see us do. And the most important thing, episode 23 is coming up. Who is the better 23? Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Michael Jordan. Who's it going to be? You're going to see these two guys go at it. I'm going to step back, just keep some points. You guys at home are going to determine who is the better 23 definitively.
You know, this generation does still play with toys. I love that, Frank. I love that for you.
For all the people that aren't 180 years old and don't smoke Camels, this is called action figures.
Whether it's an action figure with it, whether it's a toy, whether it's a G.I. Joe, whether it's an old school NBA Jam game.
Man. Love that.
Again, for Coach Frank LaFada, for Podfather Alex Goett, I am Paul Teach Nelson. We are 3 for 3.
All right, guys, great job. Don't forget to leave your computers up for just a moment. Let me stop recording.